What's cracking, scribers? Thank you for being with me all this way. You know what time it is. It's that time of week, and I hope you're having a good weekend. Soon. I don't know what time zone you're watching this from, but fuck. My whole life is a weekend. It's another Smokecast. And this is a really special one. Because in previous videos, I've kind of assumed the role of the professor, the explainer. But one thing you have to know about me is that I consider myself to actually be a philosopher, and in my various musings and particularly in my debates with a very bright fellow who's a communist. I allude much to the works of other philosophers, dead philosophers, such as Heidegger and Ebola and etc., etc., etc. Nevertheless, I have also done some original work, which are handwritten. They're in some box in the basement somewhere. Anyways, I thought I'd make this video about Torbjørnism. That's right. I decided to name it after myself, because I'm intensely egotistical. No, but this naming shit. If anyone's been in a band out there, you know that this naming shit it's a whole process, and I just got lazy with it because it's just me out here. So it's Torbjørnism, and what does that mean? Let's start. Every philosophy is based upon a dyad. What is that? So people nowadays, they talk a lot about binaries, and they also talk about, as is with phenomenology, dualism, and how it leads to an idealistic interpretation of the world. But this type of discourse is still framed within the heuristic of the dyad. Now, heuristic, for those of you who don't know what that word means, it means a kind of roadmap for your head. All right. If you've done a lot of mountain hiking, which I have, like many other great philosophers of history, you know that sometimes you need that map. All right. And I'm not talking about minor attracted person. I'm talking about fucking pictures on a paper that shows you where the path is. And you cannot do philosophy without first basing it on an axiomatic dyad. Axis, like a magnet, it has a north and a south pole, just like the coin has two sides. This can be discussed in further detail ad infinitum, ad nauseam even. But magnetism is a very real phenomenon, which segues perfectly into what is the axiomatic dyad of Torbjørnist thinking, which is, let me charge this up even more. So previously you had mind and body, you had the eternal and the fleeting, you had being and becoming, you had being and time, you had being and nothingness. But under Torbjørnism, sound like a dictator now. You want to take this dick? All right, I'm not trying to be vulgar here, but under Torbjørnism, the axiomatic dyad is reality and potentiality. What does that entail? Well, first of all, my philosophy is grounded in phenomenology, which means that it's about lived experience. It's almost like self-help. All right, if you watch my other channel, I try to do self-help over there, and I don't have access to that channel anymore because I left my computer out in the rain, but that's another story. But it's still out there. I put out the stuff that I needed to put out. So reality and potentiality. Now, when you walk through life, it is easy, especially in the mundaneness. Oh, this went out. Now I'm just gonna save it a little bit. Especially in the mundaneness of contemporary living. You know, I had my fair share of office job engagements, and you know, the mundaneness causes you to slowly drift from reality to potentiality, and this relates specifically to the modal nature of, well, what Heidegger would call existence. So you have layers of existence. You know, you have a plank, you have the ownership of a plank, you have the location of a plank, you have the use of a plank and the condition of a plank, each with its own existential quality. And so, to be rigorous in such a modal interpretation of existence is the key to, well, I would say health, but that would be a somewhat hyperbolic, almost Nietzschean type of beating my own drum sort of thing. But the common sickness of society today, although it also has many layers, many very vile layers. You know, one of my saying is that they're giving the hobbits a diaper fetish, and this stems from a not simply reversed. Of course, if you were to call it reversed, you would imply that the best way to prioritize different levels of existence is somehow neoplatonically defined. As such, you go back into the realm of eternity and becoming, being the essential dyad. And of course, all of my philosophical work is based on previous philosophical work. I mean, it cannot be any other way. But potentiality is not reality. And thus, by linguistically posing yourself, whether you're analyzing or, for lack of a better word, simply talking, in the realm of the possible and treating it as a reality, then the slippery slope starts into insanity. Yes, I've read Foucault as well. And so maybe you could call my philosophy a chimerical freak, because it also incorporates virtue in its second axiom, which is that something is better than nothing. The key word being better, right? And so this could also be interpreted in a way of needless, useless labor, as would be critiqued by phenomenology's use of the concept of at-handness. Like an axe is only an axe as long as it can cut, you know. But what's more real, the axe or the cutting? This is the modality that I'm referring to. And so, to really be in immanent existence means that you have to have a clear understanding of what is possible and what actually is. And being is time. And when you carelessly use your language saying the word is without realizing it's a conjugation of being, or when you use the word the without realizing it's a conjugation of the word being, or if you use the word was without realizing it's a conjugation of the word being in time, you slowly start to slip away from what's right in front of you. And this is the fundamental cause of the sickness of our age. Because we could potentially just get shit done, but we don't. Have a nice day. And always remember, smoke 'em if you got 'em, baby. Fucking hell. That was pretty concise. Gonna try to do a fart review later today. But yeah, I'll link my other channel in a pinned comment if you want more self-help based on Torbjørnism. But yeah, tell me what you think about my philosophy. And you know, I mean, I already know it's the best the world has ever seen thus far. But yeah, I'd be really curious to hear your opinions. Especially the real Joseph Stalin. Shout out to you, man. Come on, man. Give me some money and buy me a coffee. We've had great discussions. For new viewers, go check out my other videos and the comment threads between me and him, discussing pretty much everything, except for the Catholic Church, perhaps. For anyone who knows what the word Catholic means, just Google it. They got AI now. All right, smoke it up. Have a good weekend. I'm already drunk. I'm drinking right now. Look, I'm smoking and drinking. Check it out. Got cheap wine. Fucking shit. I'm gonna fall over. Smoke it and drink it up, baby. And just have sex. Why not? That's where everybody comes from. That's why there's a fetus at the end of 2001: A Space Odyssey. All right. Put some rock music on. I know I'm gonna be doing that later. All right. Peace out. That's Torbjørnism summarized for you. That's my name. I'm a Norwegian guy. My name is Torbjørn Orvik Hjorfeld. I come from a long line of farmer fishermen and mining engineers for some reason. All right, peace.